So we have the heat on. Sorry if it's a little chilly.
No, it's
No, it's
perfect.
okay.
That's why we have the fans to push the heat down. But this place is so big that it's kind of like. Plus, these are like 15-year-old units, but we're getting new ones this coming Tuesday. So hopefully that helps make things better too.
Yeah.
So fill me in. So we got a resource garter with the other golden.
Uh-huh.
You said just recently had cherry eye surgery.
Yes.
Lost a few pounds of weight there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a little bit there. There's also a cat in the house.
Okay.
Really, she's just a puppy. She's playful. She's what would you say when we leave?
Yeah.
Separation anxiety?
Yeah, separation
Yes,
anxiety.
separation
Like the golden
anxiety.
retriever, I would leave. I had him before.
Yeah,
I moved
since he
in
was a
with him,
puppy.
and so I would leave him at home a lot, and he never had an issue with it. I would go to a different room, shut the door. He'd never have an issue with it. You can't go to another room
No,
and shut the door.
yeah.
She's clawing at the door.
Clawing at the door. Do you hear that
Screaming,
cry that she
barking,
does?
crying.
Always.
Yeah.
Even right when we show up, like, and we have 3 kids at the house, 15, 10, and 8.
Okay.
She just cries and goes on her belly and is
She
just
wants
so
attention.
excited but crying the whole time. It's like, and she always wants to be the center of everything we're doing. Everything we're doing. If she sees us talk, Wade is his name, the other dog. If we're talking to Wade, boom, here she comes right in the middle. Look at me right now. Don't look at Wade, look at me.
Sure.
If she gives Wade a toy, she
She'll
wants
take
it
it right out of
immediately.
his
Give me
mouth.
that.
And then
Even
she'll
if
just
something
drop
she
it and
doesn't
go
even
do
want.
what she
She doesn't even
yeah.
want it, but only wants it because we gave it to Wade, and,
Yeah.
and she wants it now.
I gotcha.
Yeah, and then she'll guard it and won't let him get it again.
I see.
Yeah.
Have you done any training on your own to try to address anything?
No,
or
I
just
mean,
general?
we'll do treats, but it only lasts until you're out of treats, and then
Okay. She
won't
forget
do
it.
anything.
She could do that all day.
Have you had her since she was 2 months?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was what,
10 weeks,
10
I
weeks
think.
when we got
Yeah,
her?
so maybe a little more than
From a
2
breeder?
months.
From a breeder, yeah. We got her from the Amish out in Ohio.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah. We
The
see
golden
what
came from them too,
we
though.
see what we got. The golden came from there too, and he went to training
He
with
did off-leash
with
canine
off-leash
training.
canine.
Oh, yeah, I saw
An
that.
out by
e-collar and
Oak
yeah.
Brook.
So you guys are familiar already.
So
Yeah.
we're familiar with it, but Wade changed after that, and for the better. For the better, for sure.
For the better, yeah.
And that mixed with age. I mean, we were concerned, like, okay, well then, without the collar, that he's not going to listen. But he's come around.
matured, yeah.
But I'm okay with her being on a collar because she's a Rottweiler and she's just not. Like I said, if I run out of treats, then that's it. She's going to go back to her other behavior.
Correct. Yeah. I think here. What are your goals? What do you want to accomplish with the training?
That she listens. Like when I walk,
Yeah, the
she's
walk
pulling
is
my
good, yeah.
shoulder out of the socket because she will not just walk
won't
and
heel.
heel.
Mm-hmm.
We walk Wade a lot. We love to walk, especially when it's nice out. We're walking every day after dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And, we find joy in doing that. When she was a puppy, she was getting along pretty well with it until now.
Yeah.
Now it's like pull us everywhere. And Wade heals. She would go on 2-mile walks with him, and
Yeah,
he's
without
just
the
right
leash
next to
and
her,
yeah.
and it's great. I mean, I love walking Wade. Sometimes I'll tell her, here, you got to walk her for a minute. So let me walk Wade and
Yeah,
enjoy it
get a
for a
break.
second.
Yeah.
Really, it's about being able.
Confidence. I think she needs to get her confidence.
She
knows
doesn't
what
have
she's
any
doing.
confidence, I
so?
think.
Just the crying.
Just,
and
yeah,
she-
with anything that she's
We'll
doing.
we'll tell them both to do something.
and
And
she'll
she
be so
only
confused.
does it because the golden retriever does it.
Yeah.
If he's not there and you tell her to do it, she has no clue what you're talking about. But she's done it 1,000, 2,000 times before. With him, she just doesn't. I
And-
don't know if she just doesn't want to do it on her own.
And
or
like
if
say
she
we're on a
forgets.
walk and there's another dog that barks, she cries and runs.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a Rottweiler, very interesting.
Yeah.
It's not like when we think about Rottweiler, right?
Yeah.
Because they're known as a power breed.
Yeah.
The assumption is like it's a power breed should be a confident dog, but that really just comes down to personality type.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I had a Rott for 10 years and she was a lot more confident than
Than this
she
one,
is
yeah.
in that way.
Just
very
different.
like, don't come near me. But she'll run and hide. If there's another dog coming, she'll be like, I'm out of here. I don't want nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
But yet she'll pick on Wade at home.
because
which
she's
is-
comfortable. With
Yeah.
Because she's comfortable with it.
Yeah, and if Wade's like a softer personality,
100%.
then
He's
she's
about
like,
as
it makes
gentle.
her kind of like a bully. Like
tough.
bullies bully
does
because it
bully
makes them
him.
feel
She
better.
does.
Yep.
That's what we call her.
And that's kind of what we have going on. And we'd just like to bring a little bit of peace back to the home because it's kind of been a terror lately.
I gotcha. Yeah, she's definitely on a smaller side, at least from what I've seen from Rottie's.
Yeah, I think we're not feeding her enough.
Yeah,
We had that issue with weight.
We
too,
have her
when
on
he was younger.
farmer's
He was-
dogs, so they were both eating the same amount. And now
Get it
after the
active.
surgery, and we could kind of see her ribs, we were even this weekend, I'm gonna get some kibble and add that with the farmer's dog
Sure.
to kind of beef her up a bit. So
Yeah, because I think a lot of the behavioral issues too might be because she's just hungry all the time and she's
'Cause of
just
the research
acting
guarding?
out.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe just she's acting out because she's hungry and she wants food. I don't know.
So resource guarding is instinctual.
Okay.
It's not anything that I would say is stemming from like her being hungry. Dogs, if you give her a bully stick, like, I got this at Petco, right? And there's 100 more, an infinite amount of bully sticks I can go get her.
Yeah.
Is that she doesn't know that, right? So if you give her
Right.
something that's high value, she's like, well, I don't know when I'm gonna get this again. We get the guarding behavior.
Yeah.
So some dogs have it, some dogs don't. But like, I have another client who thought their dog was a resource guarder because the dog was anxious. I was anxiety and resource guarding have nothing to do with each other. Like it's
Yeah.
just you just happen to have a resource guarder that's anxious.
Yeah.
Or an anxious dog that's a resource
Yeah.
guarder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and if she knows she can get away with guarding things from Wade, she's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Right. So
like she'll eat her food. Like they both will sit and then I'll put Wade's down, he'll eat. She waits patiently, then eats. When they're done, she goes and cleans Wade's bowl. She doesn't go take it from him, but she'll clean it like a
Afterwards,
whistle.
yeah.
Yeah, afterwards.
so I don't have an issue with like our dogs do that.
Yeah. She ate cat litter before we came here because she went and found the litter box. She's so hungry.
Okay.
And just ate litter and it was all over her whole
I
face.
gotcha. So that might just be her.
She's
yeah.
gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
They can be
nasty.
corrected. But like, let's say Wade was eating and she was like bullying him out the way and then taking his food. Like, obviously that would be.
She
If
does
she
try that when
didn't
we get in
have
the way.
something, you could
Yeah.
bet that's gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah.
So that can
And
be
he'll
corrected.
walk
Or if we're
away
not
and let her eat it. He'll starve to death instead of have confrontation.
I see. Yeah. So that's stuff that you'd want to correct because obviously he needs to eat.
Right.
Yeah.
right.
But they eat at the same time. So, and then if one of them's gonna eat separately, then we'll just separate them and then.
Do you have a
Yeah, well-
crate?
We do have a crate. We have 2 crates,
Yeah.
but we haven't really used it since she got older and was making a night like you couldn't even sleep, and she would just
Scratching at
just
it,
tearing it,
screaming, barking,
like, to no
shitting in
end.
it, rolling over in it.
Yeah, and it was just like I gotta go to work in the morning. I can't.
Yeah,
you know.
I gotcha. Okay.
So they all sleep in the bed, and she's great. She lays at the end of the bed, and Wade lays.
No conflict there?
No, none at all. I mean, that's when she's happiest is when we're all snuggling. She just creeps up on her back and wants her belly rubbed. That's
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
I'd keep an eye on it. So what can happen with resource guarding is it'll start in one place and eventually expand.
Yeah.
So then it's like, okay, I take her bone, I guard it or whatever, or I guard this. And then it's like, okay, I'm on the couch with mom and dad. And then if you come and jump onto the bed or the couch, I'm going to guard the couch from you now. And then it becomes the bed. So that's just one thing we want to be mindful of.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's no way to predict it.
Yeah.
I get some dogs that have resource guard frisbees and never anything else other than a frisbee. And I get other dogs where it starts here.
Wade's like
and
that
it's
with
here,
balls.
Here,
Yeah.
it just starts to expand. Okay. So that's just more so to make you aware.
Yeah.
Because usually people are like, I've never seen this happen before. And I'm like, well, just this, you haven't seen it doesn't mean it can't happen.
Right.
The good thing is you're obviously being proactive about we need to address this behavior, which is going to help mitigate a lot of that risk.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't want to yell at her because yelling seems to more scare her, and then she'll stop. But then it's like then you're just yelling, but getting a louder voice with her, and then but then she's kind of like bashful, and then
Yeah,
she'll
because
go-
of the energy. It's too
yeah,
much.
it's a different kind of energy. So and we don't want to have to do that with her because we want to take walks with her, and we want her to we have a big backyard, and the kids are there, and we want her to know that when it's time to play, it's time to play. But when we say that's it, that's it.
Yeah, she also like jumps on them. Like if we're talking to his son,
Yeah,
she'll
my
just be
daddy's
jumping,
70.
jumping,
And
jumping.
she, just
Oh,
excited to see him,
Yeah.
and he's gonna knock him over, onto the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. And just sit, lay down, your basic commands. That
When people come over, how is she?
excited.
Super excited.
Excited, wants to be the center of everything.
Okay. When you went to pick her, I'm assuming you went over to pick her up and stuff.
Yeah.
Did you get to see any other dogs or other puppies?
I did. I saw there was another puppy that was there. She was a little bit older from a previous litter. She was a nice looking dog. The dad, I have a picture of the
Up in a
dad.
crate barking.
The dad was like, yeah, he was just a stud dad, and the mom was a cute little, Rottweiler, kind of like her, very similar to her. Hold on, Marla.
Yeah, but he picked her up initially, and she
That's-
immediately started
that's her
crying.
dad.
Interesting.
So
They look like
Nothing.
they're mixed with like Mastiff or something.
I have her AKC.
They say
Lineage.
it's full rot.
Yeah, full
Yeah.
rot. The whole.
I wonder if it's like a
bloodline.
different. I mean, because they'll breed for different things.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like different looks or what have you.
She's
but like for
inbred.
the dad, you look at his face. I see Mastiff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, in the cherry eye, that's new for me with Rottweilers, but I guess that's a thing.
I've only ever come across, not with a Rottie, but cherry eye like once or twice
Yeah.
with like dogs. Like at least from my experience, it's not common. And then I know one of them had a surgery for sure, but it still comes up.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how.
Yeah. And if
Yeah,
he gets
they-
like too excited or something like that,
Yeah.
it'll like pop out.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's
And
what
then
it
I
is.
think I can't remember if we just are supposed to ignore it or if like they like I think the owners like, just kind of push it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the dog's fine, but
Yeah.
even after the surgery, like it'll still like happen.
Yeah.
So-
we see that now after we've had the surgery.
Yeah.
4,000 later. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I can see a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If she's chewing,
Hey.
Marla.
Now what about this here? Like the
That doesn't usually happen.
okay.
Well, I think it's more she wants attention. Did you think
That
it
was
was
kind of a little
like
bit of-
That was a
aggressive? You
suspicious
think?
growl.
You think it
That
was
a
suspicious? Okay.
growl.
Okay.
But maybe just because we're here and talking
Yeah,
nicely.
I know. So that was my employee, right?
Yeah.
And one thing that we want to, so puppies have like 3 pivotal changes in their life where they, as they're maturing, where things change. 6 months, a year, and 2 years.
Okay.
So 6 months a year is familiar with kids. I think of it as terrible twos, brain, teenager body. At a year, we get teenager brain, adult body. At 2 years, you get adult dog.
Yeah.
Okay, so like right now, it would be tall and lanky. And then once she hits 2 years, you start to see her fill out and kind of get that Rottie build or whatever, you know. But this is where we can get other changes like, let's say with German Shepherds. They're puppies, let's say they happen to have a quiet German Shepherd, okay? And German Shepherds are notorious for like being barkers and all that. And like, oh, Jesse, like, this is the quietest puppy and whatever. I'm like, just wait till they're 6 months, right? And at 6 months, at some point, they find their voice. And now they bark when people come over, and now they bark when they want something. Now they, they start to see that side come out because
Yeah.
they're starting to mature. We get dogs that are completely friendly, and then at a year, all of a sudden, they start to become territorial over the home, okay? And then at 2 years is pretty much where you have your dog, okay?
Yeah.
Usually, if something changes, it's because of an external factor. Attacked by an off-leash dog. I had one client, like they had a shelf of pans that fell, and after the shelf of pans fell, like the dog became like super nervous, like it was something.
Oh,
completely wrong.
really?
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's surprising. Because
Yeah.
usually, because it's because the pots fell, right? It's not like something that happens recurringly,
Right, it was
but like it
one-
literally just
one
flipped the dog.
time, yeah.
I had
Yeah, it was
one client,
traumatic for the dog.
they literally moved from this house to this house across the street. And the dog went from super social, anybody can come over, to you're not coming into this house.
Really?
Like complete, like, and severe, like territorial
Yeah.
aggression. Like I was
Wow.
like, that I've only seen that once in 15
Yeah.
years, you know? But these are things to just keep in mind, you know, so she's 9 months now, right?
Yeah.
So then we just keep a tab on things, you know, if I
No,
start
she'll be a-
noticing.
She's gonna
She's
be
a year.
here
Oh, she's, oh yeah,
on
yeah,
February
this
11th.
month.
Yeah.
So like, let's say this kind of,
Yeah,
Right,
and
yeah.
the growling's kind of.
Well, I
a
will.
new-
Well, I will
yeah.
add this:
She did it to
the
the vet.
doctor,
She-
the
she-
vet,
yeah.
the even the first vet and the eye doctor. We had to muzzle her at the eye doctor because when he was looking at her eye, then she snapped.
yeah.
And then he goes, "Well, she's like that." I said, "Well, that was the first time she got like that." But he was right up in her eye and all that kind of stuff. So when it's me and her, she doesn't do that.
She growled at me a couple.
She
But the
did-
golden retriever growls at me.
The
when I
golden
try to move
retriever
him
is a grumpy
sometimes.
boy who,
He's
when
grumpy.
you move him in the bed and he's sleeping, he does this little growl to her, but it's a very innocent one. And she started mimicking that when she went in to the end of the bed where
And
he
I
was.
try moving
I see.
her.
And we said out of the bed now, because that you're not going to do that, because it's different. She might be thinking that it's something different than it is. Wade's just kind of, he's like an old soul kind
How
of
old is
guy.
Wade?
3.
He's 3,
Oh,
but
okay.
he's almost like a human in
3
a
and a
dog's
half.
body. He's just old and grumpy, kind of.
At 3 years old.
Don't,
Yeah,
yeah,
I try
like
to
don't
move him
move
when he's
me. I'm
sleeping.
comfy. I'm
He's like a
sleeping.
little
How
prince.
dare you?
Yeah, yeah.
But he
yeah,
just
I get
does
it.
it to tell you don't touch me.
When did she growl at you?
She did it in the bed when I tried to move
In
her.
the bed when she mimicked what Wade does, and then she went to move her to like, because we have an ottoman at the end that she sleeps on, it's long, and we had no foot space, so she went to move her to the ottoman, and she did what Wade does when you try to move him. And then right away we turned the lights on. No, you got to get off the bed
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
So
So-
with Wade, we know he's not going to bite, because he's a golden retriever. We know him. You know.
Yeah.
Why, he bites you?
No, I mean, sometimes he'll get mouthy, but it's not gonna.
She babies
her, I
Wade,
don't
like,
know. With
completely,
the golden retriever, I know him.
Mm-hmm.
He's 3 years old. You know, I don't think he'll do anything. But
Yeah.
her, I don't
She's
want her to.
unpredictable because we really
Yeah.
don't know what, and like you said, these changes that might happen.
Right.
She might become more territorial. She plays with the cat the way the cat plays. So the cat, hitting her in the face with the claws. So she mimics that with the cat and knows just knock the cat over though, but doesn't like bark or growl or like try to like bite the cat. So she knows like how to play with the cat and then how to play with Wade.
Yeah. Okay.
So she does see a difference in that.
So one thing, just as this is my personal opinion on it, is I tell everybody if your dog has a mouth and teeth, they can bite.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I've had clients in the past where they could have a dog for 5 years, and then they get bit for the first time.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh my God! Like I didn't know my dog would do that." I'm like, "Of course, it has a mouth and teeth, right?"
Yeah.
It's just obviously the likelihood, if we're looking at a golden retriever and then versus like a power breed, obviously you're going to assume, well, this dog is most likely
Right.
going to be the one that's going to do anything, right?
Yeah.
But we always want to approach things cautiously because it could technically happen at any point. This here is a dog bite. This is 10 stitches. This is from a Great Dane, which usually people get surprised because
Yeah.
Great Danes are known as like the gentle giants.
Yeah.
And this was a dog that wasn't being aggressive. I was trying to load him into a kennel. This was way back when I first got my initial brick and mortar in Logan Square. And I hadn't had a dog his size yet. And we had wire crates at that facility. So I was just trying to see if he was going to fit.
Yeah.
Funny thing was he wasn't. And this happened,
Yeah.
But I was trying to load him in, and then he freaked out, and his only way of self-defense is to bite,
Is to
and that's
bite.
where this happened.
Yeah.
He's a Great Dane, I couldn't avoid it. So, but hadn't bit anybody before, hasn't bit anybody since. This was in October, November of 2019, so 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And he was a year old at the time. So then the parents were like, "Oh my God, we didn't know he was aggressive."
Yeah.
I'm like, he's not aggressive. Like he panicked, and the only way he knew to handle it was to bite. And here we are, So
Yeah.
pick him up and I'll train him after I've healed up.
Yeah.
And never an issue, other
Yeah.
than that one time. So, but now that she's a year, she's kind of, in a teenager, like coming into her own, and
Yes.
that's where we start to potentially see shifts.
Yeah.
Okay. It's all just part of the process. And then again, once she's at 2 years, you get adult dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here, if I look at her posture, we
Demeanor,
have the alert. I don't see a whole ton of tension, but she's definitely focused here. You can see the following, right? Ears are up and perked, chest is up. But if you look
Then
at
she'll
her
probably cry.
haunches, she's kind of just sitting kind of
Yeah.
goofily,
Yeah.
right? So she's not like this. Obviously, this is like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm business,
Yeah.
right? But I can see a
If
little
the
bit.
doorbell rings, you get some business out of it.
Sure.
UPS.
So, but that's stuff that I see, and we can technically like break that focus. What happened at the veterinary office is I take it kind of like with the grain of salt,
Yeah.
because she's there to get this cherry eye examined, and it's the vet, and that's what you've paid for.
Yes.
She doesn't know that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And the other thing is there's a lot more going on within the environment that we don't hear, right? There could be cats meowing and dogs barking in the back. You also have all the scents. There's typically the hustle and bustle of we got to get you out so we can get to the next client, this and that, right?
Yes.
And all of those things tend to stack. And then that's where we see like that, things like that potentially happening. Okay. So, I had a dog, actually, it was a pit bull, first class. I handled the dog on the consult. just to calm the dog down. Dog was completely fine. Came for the first class, and then they needed help fitting the collar. So I came in, and I started moving with her collar, and I noticed a little bit of apprehension, and I continued to linger as I was adjusting the collar, and sure enough, right?
Yeah.
And then I jumped back, nothing happened. And they're like, oh my God, you know, I'm like, it's all right. I was like, I was just in her business. She's stressed out because of everything that's going on right now.
Yeah.
And then we did the training, no problem, you know. So these things do happen. Unfortunately, if you don't understand dog behavior, it's kind of like, oh my God, your dog's aggressive. And like you put me in this situation. I'm like, I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
You know? So once you start to understand that, you see how things kind of add up, just like with humans. You know, if you're having a bad day behind the scenes and then you show up to work and something bad happens or things go south or like someone says the wrong thing to you and then you just kind of blow up.
Yes.
You can look bad in the moment, but they're not seeing everything that happened before.
Yeah, the whole picture.
Yes. And then you turn around and go, I'm sorry. I woke up this morning, this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and I showed up to work, and then this happened, and I just, you know, and then they go, oh, we get it.
Yeah.
Dogs, unfortunately, we don't have that kind of conversation. You
Yeah.
know? So typically when we're working with these things, and we're looking for habits.
Yeah.
If every time someone gets in her space, we see this response, then I go, okay, that's a behavior now. Like that's a habit. And it can happen for any little thing, so to speak. It's not just I'm prying in your eye. You know, if I touch her butt, if I touch her ear or something, and it's the same response every single time, then I go, I have a dog here that's touch sensitive. Okay, because it's very consistent each and every time. She'll be fine with you, but maybe with strangers, she's not fine.
Yeah.
Right? So then it's really an external problem. So, but other than that, like looking at her demeanor here, like she's not caring about me.
Yeah, she's
You
super
know?
sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, even with my kids, aside from her not knowing that she's bigger than the littlest ones, that's why she would knock them over or jump on them. She's just on her back getting her belly rubbed, you know, laying on the couch with my daughter while she's, you know, doing something, or just very sweet in that way.
Okay.
I mean, other than that's she's a sweet dog, but just doesn't listen to what we tell her to do.
Yeah, the obedience stuff, not a problem. Resource guarding to a degree, not a problem. It's pretty straightforward with addressing. If the being handled at a veterinary office is like a continuing thing, that's a little bit trickier. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that comes down to their skill level with interacting and handling a dog like this. And then I have gone with clients in the past, like on a vet visit, but unfortunately they're not there to help you train your dog. They're there to treat your dog.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So it's usually like, you know, you're trying to do things correctly, but they're just like, yeah, we need to get this done so that we
It's
can
like a muzzle's the safest way to go.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like that.
Is she muzzle conditioned at all?
she's
No,
trying to
but
get it
she's
on.
had it at the charity
Okay.
surgeon.
I got you. Was it a mesh muzzle or was it like a basket?
It was like a fabric one.
It was
Okay.
like a
Like
yeah,
a
it was like a blue canvas kind of.
Yeah.
A grooming muzzle?
Yeah.
So those are meant temporarily while they need to do what they need
And
to
they
do.
said
Yeah,
once they put
exactly.
the cone on, they'll take it off.
And I sat with her the whole time while she had the muzzle. Okay, Marla, it's okay, calm down. And then he was looking in her eye, and she growled a little bit with the muzzle on, but there was nothing she could do.
Yeah.
Not like
Yeah,
snap
she
at him.
could
Yeah,
snap.
yeah. Okay, cool. I would suggest muzzle conditioning, like taking the time to do so. It's not hard. It's very easy. It just takes time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And we have videos that we can send you that you can do on your own. It's not really anything that's, how do you say, worth doing a lesson over, you know,
Yeah.
because it's just so stupid easy. It's just like
Yeah.
a waste of time and money in my experience. Unless there's like an actual problem,
Right.
then I was like, then I'll come help you.
Yeah.
You know, because there's dogs that just are not having it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we use food and then, you know, treats, positive association, stuff like that, get her over it. So that this way, and then take her on walks with it, maybe have her wear it around the house for 30 minutes every now and then.
Okay.
Because if you only put it on when you're going to go to the vet, she's going to tie that.
She's gonna tie,
She's
yeah.
gonna-
Like she probably thought she was going to the vet right now.
Sure.
And
Yeah,
plus
but
she's
we're
horrible
going
in the
far.
car. She throws up every time.
Okay.
Drooling mess.
Okay. Anxiety.
The only time she wasn't is when she was on gabapentin or travel.
Yeah, with
Trazodone?
me, she doesn't really do
Trazodone.
it, but I let her sit in the front
Perfect.
seat.
You know, and that was a 6-hour car ride on the way back from Ohio. She did puke on that ride and slept the rest of the way, but has never
On
been
the
able.
drugs?
No, when we first got her as a puppy.
I see.
Which is normal for them to throw up in the car, I guess, when they're puppies like that.
Yeah, the golden retriever.
Yeah,
did
the
too, but
golden
now he
retriever
loves
did it, but
Loves
he
the
could
car.
drive from here to Wyoming, and he'll eat in the car. He'll
no problem.
pup cups, all that, just fine sitting in the passenger seat.
Well, it can be one of two things. It can be like motion sickness for people.
Yeah.
Right. If it is motion sickness, then your best bet is just drugging when you need.
Yeah,
to.
I mean, she's really.
She
We were
refuses to lay
thinking it
down.
would go away.
Okay.
She threw up on the way here.
She sits and she's
If it's
swaying the whole
anxiety
way.
related, which that sounds a little bit like anxiety related, we can to a degree correct that. We can't make her fully relaxed, but
Right.
we can at least calm her nerves down enough that ideally
She
you don't see
won't
the
lay
vomiting.
down, and I think if she'd lay down and stop looking out the window,
Mm-hmm.
it might help her, but she refuses. Like, Marla, sit. No, just drool like no other coming out of her. The back of the car, thank God I got the weather tech in there.
Yeah. So there's some stuff that we can do, but if it's just like a legitimate car sickness,
Yeah.
then
Yeah,
like
there's
it's
no
you get doggy adrenaline.
Yeah, that's what they
this.
said, is like, you might just have to give her that. But we do need to take her on more rides.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, it's winter. We're all kind of cooped up right now. We're not out in the backyard. With this weather the way it is, the backyard's a muddy mess.
Mm-hmm.
So when we let them two out there, it's like, gotta get that thing for their paws.
Yeah.
It's just a nightmare. So everybody's a little on edge in the house right now.
Okay.
She's looking for some good
I figured you guys were
exercise.
from Ohio.
Oh, yeah?
Off-Leash Canine kind of gave it away.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I think that's probably where they started. They're like a franchise now, so they have
Yeah,
more
they're
locations.
huge. Yeah.
But I've had quite a number of clients from Off-Leash Canine, like that they were trained there in Ohio, and then they come here, and I ended up doing some work with them. So
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he was trained out. I think the guy was in Oak Brook.
Oh, he
maybe.
was in Oakbrook.
Yeah, he went to
Wait.
the little mall in Lombard.
Oh,
and
was it
taught
here?
him.
Yeah,
he
both
got
of the
them.
dogs
They're
are from Ohio.
We got them
They're
from
from
Ohio.
Millersburg.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
From Chicago.
Yeah.
Well,
I
she's from
gotcha.
Boston
I'm from
originally, but
When I saw Off-Leash Cam, I'm like, oh, these guys must be from Ohio. So when you said
yeah,
Ohio earlier, I'm like,
no,
oh, yeah.
they took Wade like in the mall. They trained him in the mall over there, Yorktown
I was
Mall.
trying to get him training because he likes to run and I like to play fetch with him, but I didn't trust him to come to recall, and so that's why I.
And it
put
was
him through
prior to
that.
us living together. Now
Yeah.
we live together.
Mm-hmm.
But we were dating, and I drove with her to get him as a puppy when
She just sees my employee walking.
when she lived in an apartment. So I've been in Wade's life his whole life too.
Okay.
But yeah, both of the dogs are from the Amish in Ohio.
In the same little town.
Same little town. And coming out of that town was a real hilly, windy road, so she was puking right out of the gate.
That could be a pot.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's her first car
So
ride.
yeah, I mean, her first car ride was traumatizing. Put it that way. So
Sure.
she's not she doesn't like cars.
And are you trying to do like a boarding train or like a in-person training? What's your?
I mean, you were thinking board and train,
Yeah.
right?
Are you guys in Berwyn right now?
No, I live on Canfield and Foster, outskirt of Chicago, right?
But we are on Berwyn Avenue.
Okay.
Oh,
Because I just
Ber-
remember reading
Yeah,
over
yeah,
the
Berwyn
Berwyn
Avenue. Yeah.
I see.
In by O'Hare.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. So I'm sorry. You said you're thinking about the.
Board and train.
Yeah,
Board and
we were
train?
thinking board and train. I thought that we
Yeah,
were,
yeah.
unless you were thinking
Sure,
in
okay.
person. We're both kind of really busy with work and everything,
Sure.
and
And if you're coming
I
from-
have kids that are with us in school and schedule, so we don't want that to interfere with us getting this done.
Sure.
It's important that we get it done because we want to have a good spring and we want to have a good summer, and really we want to have a better relationship with her so that we could all be happier. There's not like an unruly dog in the house to really
Sure. No, for sure.
make things
And
chaotic.
I mean, she's a
it's
sizable dog.
stressful.
Yeah, she is, especially once we start feeding her a little more food.
Yeah.
Does she have any dog friends outside of Wade?
No, just a cat friend.
Okay.
No, but
Yeah.
we did. I was nervous. We were on a walk one night and we passed by. It was a fenced area, and a dog came up, and I was afraid of her reaction, but she wasn't. She didn't like.
Oh, this particular
She
dog
snap or
wasn't
anything,
barking
she
at her. It
was-
was
she
the
was
sweet
barking.
dog.
She
And
sniffed
then
him, and
her
then
and Wade were
they
just
fought.
sniffing each other at the fence, no barking.
Okay.
But if that other dog were to bark at her, she'd start
It
crying
might
probably
be-
and just
Take a-
pull me on the leash, pull my arm right out of the
Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay.
We took her to Dog Beach when she was a puppy, and she was friendly.
She doesn't
but
really
I mean,
care
that
for
was
water, not
a
like
year
Wade.
ago.
He could swim through the waves. It could be 40 degrees. He'll go
Mm-hmm.
get his ball. He's your classic golden retriever.
Gotcha.
Her, she's more like, I'll eat sand and look for food.
Yeah.
And eat nasty things. Like that's her thing. She likes to be nasty. That's all. She's a nasty girl.
I got you. Eat
Yeah.
some litter.
She had her
Yeah.
first period, so I would imagine we're gonna have another one coming here pretty quick because she got her first one at 6 months.
Okay, right on the dot.
Yeah.
Is she gonna get spayed?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. That was our next surgery. Wow. She
Yeah, that's
appears to be
Shedding a
shedding
lot.
as well.
Well, he's
That could
shedding
be
too. My
stress,
car is
yeah.
covered in golden retriever fur from this morning.
That could be like it happens pretty. We get some
Yeah.
dogs that come here and
Stress.
right away they're
Oh,
fur's
really?
falling out.
Okay, that's interesting.
It was weird because she wasn't doing
Yeah,
that
because look
earlier.
at there's a pile
Yeah.
right there.
It's fast, like
Yeah.
Oh,
when they get
wow.
stressed out.
Really?
Mhm. So
She wants those meal mix.
obviously we got the obedience stuff, right? That we want to cover.
Yes.
How well trained do you want her to be?
What's the top tier?
Well, there's like full off leash.
Yeah.
right?
That'd be great.
So the way it works is the longer we have a dog,
Yeah.
the closer we get them to off leash. Okay. Keep in mind with any program, there will always be one regression. Okay, because she's going from a structured facility that whose sole purpose is to train dogs.
Yes.
Yeah.
To the home setting.
Right.
Okay, and we have to kind of transfer that discipline over. Okay, so
Yes.
there's always to a degree some regression. We also have to close the gap. I already know how to train dogs. I've been doing this for 15 years. You guys have a previously trained dog, which is good, and you're already familiar with e-collar, which is good,
Yes.
right? But we have a different personality type,
Right.
right? So she
100%.
could respond completely different than Wade.
Right.
So now you have to learn how to train this personality type, right? And essentially catch up to her training. So it's like if you buy a car with a bunch of fancy gadgets, you don't just go in knowing what to do. Like you have to learn all the things that it does, right? Like I'm sure with my car, like there's stuff that I don't know that it can do. And I don't even have that fancy of a car.
Yeah.
But I just need the windshield wipers, the bag windshield wipers, the seat, the
Yeah.
heated seats,
Yeah.
turn it on and drive.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
But I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff that it can do too. But I just don't use them because I haven't read the manual and then I just don't care for it, right? So same thing here. If you have a dog who's fully off-leash trained and all you care for is just walking the dog, well then you're not going to learn the other stuff because you don't care for it. Does that make sense?
Right.
So that's why I always ask people what their goal is because I don't ever want to over-teach stuff and then they just
don't
end up
use it.
losing it because they're not using it. Okay?
Yeah.
So, but if it's like, well, if we had a well-trained dog, she would do as much as we could with her. Then I go, okay, cool. Then I know that the stuff that we're going to teach is going to be used, and I go, this is going to facilitate the need for a longer program.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we really like
Walking.
to be outside with these dogs, whether it be downtown by the lake or take them to the dog beach, which I don't even know if she could do that at this point, right?
Well, I don't like the dog
Wi-
beach.
Without and be able to call her back to us, or go to the woods, or whatever it may be, whatever commands we would need to keep her in line.
So here we cover what I call the family pet 6: sit,
Yep.
stay, down, come, place, heel. So 6 commands, and then there's break, which is the universal release command. What's your release command with Wade?
They taught him break.
Break. Okay,
Yep.
cool. So that's the same. Cool. So all these commands are meant to be functional, right? Nowadays, I think these commands are kind of taught as cute tricks that your dog can do, right? And maybe
Yeah.
there's some functionality, but in reality, like if I want to walk along the lakefront with my dogs in an off-leash heel, like I can do that.
Yeah.
If I want to let my dogs chase squirrels and then call them, I can do that.
Exactly.
If I want to
yeah.
go to a patio and tell my dog to lay down and not move from my feet,
Yes.
I can do that.
Yes.
Right. That's what
That's
like at least those commands.
Yeah.
Roll over, give me paw, like we don't care about,
Right.
right? But
She does know how to give paw. Give me paw, Marla. Give me paw.
She ain't gonna-
Give me paw. Good girl.
but sit, stay down, come place heel, they're supposed
Yeah.
to be functional.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because you use it in different settings.
Correct. And
Yeah.
they can all be built to an off-leash level. It's just a matter of does the owner want them or need them to be to an off-leash level. So if we're doing
The
remote
stay,
training,
Definitely, we would want it
Stationary control?
off-leash. Yeah.
Yeah.
the-
Yes.
Because a lot of times when we put them, I go to your place to Wade, and Wade will go,
Mm-hmm.
and he'll stay, and she'll go follow him, but she doesn't do stay.
I see.
She
Sure,
just
sure.
like does not.
She tags along and then is like,
tags
whatever.
along, and then
Yeah.
she's like, okay, I did it. I got my food.
Really,
now I'm
she's
done."
probably as well behaved as she is because she's following Wade's lead on most of
But
the
she doesn't
stuff
know what
that
on
she
her own.
does. But she doesn't know what
Formally,
exactly
correct. I
she's
gotcha.
doing.
So the bare minimum when we're doing like remote collar is always 2 weeks.
Yep.
As it roughly takes about 2 weeks for a dog to get over most of the stress. So the first week is very stressful. because we have new environment, we have the discipline of the training, we're learning a lot of new things, right? Plus we're using the e-collar, so that's stressful. And then we usually do another week to help trying to get them through as much of that as possible. So that would be where we start also what we call foundational off-leash, where we're just starting to transition them to the long leash to build towards off-leash, okay? So if we take the time that we have a dog, the first week, everything is on the short leash except for recall. That's done on the long leash, okay? The second week, we progress everything to the long leash to begin building towards off-leash, okay? The third week, if we have a social dog, they're doing long leash training in a group of dogs.
Okay.
By the fourth week, they're completely off leash in the group of dogs. Okay, so that's how the programs progress. So by the end, they're already capable of being off leash, but you have to obviously catch up to the training. Okay, so that's why there's a little bit of regression, because you might not have her fully off leash for a month or two before you get to the point where, like, okay, we trust her.
Yeah.
We're going to take that leash off and go to the park or whatever. Okay. So if we have her for 2 weeks, there's just going to be more work on your part to get her towards off leash, because we just started the foundation, right? So then it just comes down to how much of the work do I want to have done before I get my dog back, and then I have to then pick up from there.
Yeah.
Okay. So think of it as like, you know, if she did a 4-week program, she'd be like 80 to 90% off leash trained.
Yep.
And then there's going to be a little bit of regression. Maybe she falls to 70, 80%. But then it's going to be easier to get to 100% because you're already getting it higher.
Yeah.
But if we only have her on the long leash, you're like at 40, 50%. So now
Yeah.
you're having to close the gap to 100%. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if we have a dog, let's say we try to socialize her, bring her with other groups, other dogs or whatever, and she's just not having it, right? It's trickier because we would have liability, right?
Yes.
If she really doesn't like it. So that's where the muzzle comes into play. So if she's conditioned, it makes her life easier. She doesn't have to like the dogs, but then we're not worried about any kind of, like, if a dog is in her face, is she going to do anything? If we don't have muzzle, if you look at my TV here on the top right, you can see there's like the mop buckets or whatever. So you can't see it here, but here on this side is where our playpen is. Okay. These dogs are doing duration work. They're on their dog beds. There's Moose, who's actually today is his first day, and he's sneaking off of place right here, but my employee just got called. We have dogs doing treadmill, right?
Yep.
So in the case of a dog being antisocial, we do the training in that space. So there's a lot of stuff going on. They're just not in the thick of it.
Okay.
Okay. To try to compensate for the fact that we can't have them with the other dogs, depending on how social they are.
Yeah.
And then for the fourth week, I usually have to get creative. Does she have any ball drive or anything like that?
No,
if Wade has the
that's
ball.
what we've been looking for, is like, what is she into? Biting Wade's face, biting his legs, biting his balls,
taking
biting
whatever
his
Wade
tail.
has.
She's obsessed
Is he
with
neutered?
him all
He's
day.
neutered.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
he is
but
neutered.
he lost his virginity to her when she was in heat.
Over
So
the
God bless
summer,
that, right? I mean, he was into her, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Does she have
With
any
the ball,
problem?
without the balls. No.
No, she just let him.
No, she just let them. They were like lovers. I mean, if he had balls, we'd have puppies right
Yeah,
now.
sure.
For
So
sure.
golden Rotties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, she's obsessed with him. He's
Yes.
her favorite thing to do all day long, play with him. They play tug of war in the morning. She didn't really know how to play in the beginning. He's an avid tug of war player and loves balls. If he sees a ball, he will sit and be obsessed. Like,
Stare at
he'll
it.
be staring at something, and I'll say, what's there? And I'm like, I know there's a ball there, because he only does, and he knows. And we'll look in the deepest area, sure enough, there's a ball there. He knows where every ball in the house is, and he wants it. Her, no, just what's Wade
what's
doing?
he's
If he messed with him, and he'll be like, leave me alone, you know? I just want to be left alone.
Gotcha.
And she's always on him, biting him here, biting him there, biting him here.
She's still in that kind of puppy.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But always has loved him, and he's her focal point. You know, he wants to get away from her, and she won't leave him alone.
See, sure.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I wish she wanted a ball. I wish I was like, hey, Marla, let's play catch, or let's.
Sure.
Nope.
When we're here, we can see if we can find anything, like we have floor
Food.
poles and stuff
Loves
like that.
food.
Food modes.
Just if she smells
Bones.
food, drooling like a pig. Just
Gotcha.
doesn't matter what it is. It could be a tiny little thing. She just wants it.
The trickiest thing about this would be the resource guarding,
Yeah.
because I can't guarantee that we'll see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it does happen. Like we try to force it, and
Mm-hmm.
the owner's like, what do you mean you don't see? I'm like, here's a video of us like
Trying,
trying to
yeah.
fix, like, make the problem happen. The dog's like, I
Yeah.
don't care. because it's structured.
Yeah,
here.
we'd have to do it with Wade here. Wade could grab something and then she'll do it.
So with the board and trains, you do get follow-ups, and the follow-ups are helpful for, like, let's say there's something that you're struggling with the training, or if it's like, hey, Jesse, her training is great, but we need help with this resource guarding, no problem. Like, even though we couldn't cover it here,
Yeah.
we can use a follow-up to help address any problems that we couldn't address
Okay.
during the board and training.
Yeah.
That's not an issue. But then that would be, unless we can create it and actively practice it over and over again. If it's something that only occurs in the home, I would show you how to address it, but then you have to go about addressing it on your own.
Well, see, that's the thing is right now we kind of have them where it's a free-for-all. They know that they can't go on my chair. It's a leather chair. But the couch, it's free-for-all for them. And the bed. And I kind of feel like we made a mistake with that. And I want to take that back a bit. And you're allowed in the room, but you're going to have a place in the room.
Yeah, that's fine.
And if we tell you you could come and snuggle, you could snuggle. But right now, it's like they expect it, they want it, and I mean, even Wade has kind of regressed a little. But Wade, before we got her, he wasn't in the bed with us, and then when she was a puppy and we were snuggling, and now it's kind of like we're all together.
Yeah.
Cat, 2 dogs and a cat, and
Wow.
and it's nice until it's not.
Yeah.
And we want to take a little bit of control back in our house.
Yeah, I would recommend you do so.
Yes.
Because like earlier when you said when you move them.
Oh, I have something covering the couch right now. It's like I love that couch, my favorite couch, and I haven't been able to use it since she's grown up.
I gotcha, yeah.
Been able to get on.
And you can use the collar to correct those things and stuff
Yeah.
too.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That's not a
I was
problem.
like, I need a collar on him.
I'm assuming for Wade, he's on the circle remote.
He hasn't been on anything
It broke.
lately
Okay.
since
Hasn't
the
really been on
battery died out.
And he has regressed a lot
He's
too,
regressed
but
a lot.
I took him on a walk this morning. I let him go off leash, but like I didn't trust him if people were coming. I grabbed the leash.
Because he gets very excited to say hello to other people. That's Wade's thing. And he might potentially jump up on you.
I
Yeah.
see, sure.
And with the collar on,
With the collar on, he's perfect.
he's like,
he knows.
we would just show him the orange remote,
Yeah.
and he would come to you immediately.
Yeah.
Because he would, as long as you had it on, you didn't have to use it, but if you,
He would know, yeah.
he
Yeah,
would
he
know,
knew.
like, yeah, I'm done.
So just as FYI, something that you can do is, they do make 2-dog remotes, right? Is if you wanted to like have that control over the both of them again, is you can get one remote that has
Marla, come.
that controls both dogs.
Okay.
And then if you
Oh,
wanted,
okay.
Sit down.
I call them family systems,
Yeah.
where you would both have a remote that both control both dogs.
Okay.
I would die for
That-
a
that
remote
would be
right
nice.
now.
If you would
I mean,
like
I'd
to do
love
that,
have a
Yeah.
remote.
Let,
you know.
because I have to order it from the company, and they send them pre-coded.
Okay.
So that this way, when they arrive, they're just ready to go.
Oh, so they're in lockstep together
Yeah.
with it?
Yep.
Yeah.
So you can do that, and then we can take care of that for you. So that this way, because the reason why I asked is if he was on his orange remote, I use a different system than
Right,
Off-Leash Canine.
Okay.
But if his broke and you want to get a replacement,
Yeah, it's done.
it's
We
the
threw it
same
out.
stuff. It's just we have 27 more levels, which just gives us a little bit more variance.
Okay.
But in my opinion, Dogtra is the best brand. I've been using it for 15 years. I used to use eCollar Technologies, which is the previous remote that you had. But I came across too many issues when working with dogs with aggression problems. So I stopped that a long time ago, and now I just use Dogtra.
Okay.
Best system in my opinion.
Okay.
But you can have a remote or 2 remotes to both dogs, so you don't have to worry about, do you got the remote? Like, where'd you put
Yeah,
the
yeah,
remote?
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You each have your own.
Yeah.
Okay, so that can be
Okay, I
done.
like that.
Okay. And then when clients sign up for training, they get 10% off the system too.
Okay.
So that'll save you a nice little chunk of change off of that family system.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4-week programs. Obviously, the longer the program, the further or closest she's going to be to off-leash. 4-week being the longest.
Yeah.
The
Marla,
first week is the most intensive. So it's $17.50 for a 1-week program. But a 2-week is $27.50, a 3-week is $37.50, a 4-week is $47.50. So
Okay.
it's cheap. It's not. It's just $1,000 bucks
saving,
more
yeah.
because all of the training is done in the first week, and then the rest of the weeks are really us just drilling and practicing to build her towards off-leash.
Hammer it
Okay.
home, yeah.
We've had clients do a 4-week. Like I have a client, we trained both their dogs. They did 2 of their 4-week program, and they're coming back for spring break to finish the last 2 weeks of the board and train. Because they came in already knowing we have a trip here, we have a trip here, and they asked to
split it.
split. I said, sure. And they just paid up front so they could save the money because we don't prorate programs. So if a client did a 1 week and then came back for another 1 week, it would be $1,750. Okay, because we have to get them back on the calendar again, and it's an incentive to like just pre-book what you want.
Yeah.
Split it up. I don't care, and then you can have it booked, and then you save money in the long run. Okay. So if you
Does
decide
splitting it affect the effectiveness of it?
the training, no.
No. Okay.
The way that I train, like I've had dogs that came in and then like they came in sick. Like we found something, like they came and they pooped and they had worms, and we're like, hey, you got to pick up your dog, you know?
Yeah.
Didn't impact the training. Okay?
And then they came back and they kind of knew
And just
what.
pick back up again.
Right
Yeah.
back up.
Even with dogs that like I work with in person with clients, like I had a guy, I trained his dog in 2019, then COVID happened in 2020, and then didn't do anything. He came back in 24, and then he wanted a refresher class, and his dog was fully trained, by the way, but he just forgot a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
So then he's like, do you think he remembers anything? I'm like, watch this.
Yeah.
Within 5 minutes, the dog was
Doing
doing everything all over again.
everything.
Because they never fully forget with the way that I train.
Yeah.
As soon as you kick in with it again, it just all comes back.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like riding a bike is what I tell people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. It could be 3 years, that you don't do anything, and then as soon as you come back and you kick in with it, comes right back.
They get it.
It'll be a little sloppy
Yeah.
because they haven't practiced in so long. But after you practice it for a couple of weeks, it all just comes.
Yeah, like I want her to have a cleaner sit, better posture, those kind of, because she just seems kind of like,
like kind of goofy.
yeah, like a goofy sit, not confident, when you're confident and you sit there, she's kind of just like,
Yeah, a little.
Yeah.
I was talking about, like dope.
and now she shouldn't be in heat, obviously, when she comes here either, right?
Yeah, ideally, like
Yeah.
if she's in heat, then we can't have her in group with dogs because then
Right.
they could potentially fight over her or whatever.
Yeah.
We did have a dog come and who went into heat while she was here. So all we did was we just had to keep her
Segregate,
separated.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
was it.
Yeah.
It wasn't too much of a problem.
Okay.
Like in case, like let's say you drop her off, she goes in the heat a week later, and you're like, well, we're in Colorado. Like
Yeah,
we're not
yeah.
gonna force you to come back.
Yeah.
Like we have 18,000 square feet of space.
Yeah.
We'll make it work. It's
Okay.
not a problem.
Okay, because
Okay.
I'm worried about having another surgery
Back to back.
back to back with this eye
Which
surgery.
she
She's already
went to
lost
eat
a little
in
bit of weight.
November, right?
But I'm expecting
November,
the
so probably
period.
May.
Because she's
We're
a year,
thinking
I'm
April,
kind of like
May.
expecting it to be here soon.
I know.
Sure.
But I know when it starts.
It can happen when it
I
happens.
know when it
Whenever,
starts
yeah, I
getting
know.
swollen down there and stuff. I know it's coming.
My pit had hers like around 7 months, I think, is when she got
Okay.
her first.
Yeah.
Because I kept expecting it,
Yeah.
And then I was gonna get her spayed. I was trying to get it done before she had her first, and then it just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, guess we have to
Gotta
wait
wait.
now.
I wanted to at least get one and let her get full, the full benefit of being a year old and then do it.
Mm-hmm.
Wade was able to keep his balls because they tried to
He
do
went
it
in 3
twice and
times.
he got a rash on his balls and then they
It was
canceled
razor
twice.
burn. I switched vets and then they did.
Oh.
And then they
Yeah,
did
the
it.
first vet
But he like
took
went
so much
in,
money.
they shaved him down, got him ready twice.
on his
and
IV,
he escaped
Put
it.
him out, and then they called me and said,
Yeah.
oh, he's got
And
got
then
a
when
rash.
she moved in, we
And
finally
then the new
got it
vet
done.
said it was probably just razor burn, and then she shaved him, and she goes, yeah, it's razor burn. She goes, I'm gonna do it.
Well, he has skin issues
Sure, yeah,
in
yeah.
the
It just sucks
springtime.
that, like you would think
Yeah,
the vet
he's
should know
itchy.
something like
Yeah.
that.
You would
He's
think.
shaving balls all the time.
Yeah,
to do the dog.
exactly.
We-
And
I
it's
left
like
that
he
vet like
he
I
was
done.
chilly down there
The
after
third
that.
time.
Yeah.
He had his little
But yeah,
stripes.
if you wanted to do a longer program, but maybe split it up, that's perfectly fine too. It's completely up to you.
Okay.
We just ask that if you can know us ahead of time. I only take 4 boarding trains at a time.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't overbook myself and the staff, and then
Okay.
quality is impacted, whatever.
Yeah.
Allows us to gives us enough time for each dog every day. So that's not an issue. Otherwise, you can also, if you decide to do a 4-week, go straight through. Not a
Yeah.
problem either. Okay.
How early can she start if we?
Right now, it's a weird time.
Yeah.
Like we're starting February, but it's like coming after the holiday. Like a lot of times there's a lull
Okay.
because people have Christmas or they're traveling and stuff. So usually there's not a whole lot of training. So like it goes from in the wintertime, I usually get a lot of boarding trains or daycare trains because it's cold.
Yeah.
And my in-person slow down. And then in the summer, my boarding trains and daycare trains slow down, but then my in-persons
Go up.
pick up,
Yeah.
And then with the holiday low, it's a little bit slower. But I got one that just came today. I got the other 2 that are coming in spring break in like March, like early March. And I'm going to be gone, just as so you know, for like a week and a half, late March. So then we're not booking that time period.
Okay.
But for right now, we do have space. I have another boarding train coming this coming week. It was we had like I got booked like in 3 days. I had 4 boarding trains come out of nowhere. And then they all did like 3-4 week programs or whatever. And then I had like a week to 2 weeks of just like nothing. So it's like a weird up and down, but right now
Yeah.
we have space.
Okay.
As long as her vaccinations are up to date, and we would just need a new recent fecal. Even if she had one a month ago, we still require a
Yeah.
new one, just because we've had dogs show up with worms.
Is she
even
solid
after.
again?
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
fine.
right? She just had diarrhea after the surgery.
Oh,
Yeah, we just
yeah.
probably
Yeah, I
Because
tried
of
all
anesthesia.
all the fluids. Yeah, it was a nightmare. It was on the bed. It was. I mean, she's just a nasty little girl.
Yeah. But yeah, as soon as we have the stuff that we need, we can get her booked or whatever.
Okay.
So you're saying you're available right now
Correct. Yeah. I have for a boarding train. I have space. Yep.
Okay.
for a month.
Yeah, but we're going away.
We're going away,
When
but
he's not going to be here, I don't think.
when
'cause
he's
we're
not gonna be
going-
here, so
we're
if
gonna
we
be gone
get
the
her in here
22nd
now-
to the 26th of March.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Let me double check my dates.
from
Pretty
the
sure my wife went on.
2nd to the 26th.
22nd to the
March.
26th
So I was
of March.
hoping,
Oh yeah,
because
so
we could do 2 weeks now maybe, and then 2 weeks then, but if he's away,
Yeah, yeah,
then
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not gonna.
to break
But
it
then
up.
we could do 4 weeks now.
Or if
So
we
then
do
if
it
she's
now and
going
then
to
she's
Darlene's,
trained.
But Darlene doesn't want to use the e-collar.
Yeah, I'm gone from the 21st to the 31st. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
Okay.
Because
Yeah,
I'm looking.
spring break.
I have 3 boarding trains coming in, like right before we leave. So one way that this works is the only reason I have to be here is because I film.
Yeah.
You saw
Yeah.
on the website. Each week you're going to get a training video. Okay. The first week is always the longest, about an hour and a half. Well, actually, hour and a half to 2.5-ish hours, sometimes even longer than that, because I'm teaching her real time and filming it and
And
explaining
then we
it real
could
time.
see what you're doing, and
Correct.
we can
Correct.
duplicate that when.
And we
she
do
puts
that
us.
for each week.
Okay.
Okay. So week 1 is days 1, 2, 3. I get all the filming done. Week 2, it's days 1 and 2. Week 3, it's day 1. Week 4, it's day 1. Weeks 3 and 4 are the easiest. So depending on when she comes, if you try to time it to when you leave, as long as I can get the week 4 video done, it's not a problem. So even though I won't be here, my staff's here. They do the training with the dog. Okay.
Okay.
So it's not just me training the dog all the time. It's me and all my staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Team.
No,
So-
that's understandable.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
once.
so maybe we just have to do that.
What? Okay, say again. So the
So as
final
long
week
as
would be
the
the week
fourth-
he's gone.
Like the 19th, right, would be the start.
Yeah,
of
like
the,
you would just drop her off before I
Yeah.
leave, so I have a day to get, because it takes
Oh.
me 1 day to get the video done.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
see what
But
you're
maybe
saying.
send her at the beginning of March, so then it's just the 4th week that you're not here, right?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah,
So
if
as
we
long
did,
as I
like,
get the
March
video done,
1st.
my staff will make sure she gets all her training or
Okay.
whatever. So that's not an issue. It's not going to impact the quality or whatever. It's just
Okay.
I'm one less person that's going to work with her that final week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Okay.
we all, so the way it works here is everybody, after I teach a dog something, starts to work
They
with the
do,
dog.
yeah, yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
And then they do extended duration work. So that's what you're seeing up on the TV there. Dogs are on there doing place work. And these aren't boarding trains. Some of these are just daycare dogs, but
Okay.
I've trained them and it's a part of our daily routine.
Okay.
Okay, but our
And
boarding
so
trains.
you do daycare, like if we were going on vacation?
Yeah, or if
we
you
could
needed to
bring
board
her
her.
here, and then what? You guys are kind of like redoing some of the stuff that you normally do
reinforce,
with them,
correct.
reinforcing
Yes.
behaviors that are already
And for
there.
dogs
That's not
that-
a
The
bad
gold.
idea. It's not a bad idea.
For dogs
Yeah.
that we've trained, they're welcome to utilize our boarding services as needed. So like let's say next year, spring break, you want to drop her off the board because you're going to go out of town again. You would just send us a new fecal, send us her new vaccination records.
Yeah.
You drop her off, and it's no
She's good to go.
problem. Yeah.
But you don't
Okay.
take dogs you haven't trained.
We'll take the sibling, as long as, which in this case wouldn't be a problem because he's e-collar trained. That's
And
us-
like you said,
But it might be good
if
for
you
him to
put
do
it on him,
training
he
too.
might know all these commands already, then, right?
Oh, man, it may
Maybe.
translate. He knows like the sit, stay,
Yeah.
place, his recall, but I mean, it wouldn't hurt for him to get brushed up on some
Yeah.
things
If
too,
you wanted-
Get a quick little
potentially.
brush up lesson.
if you did them both at the same time, you get 10% off the second dog. So like hers would be regular price, and then if he does like a 1 week or a 2 week, you'd get 10% off that
Oh,
that
really?
program. Yeah, but they'd
Okay.
have to be here at the same time.
Right,
is the
right.
only requirement with
Yeah.
that. Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
not an issue. But otherwise, he does not have to do. A
Would they
program with us.
interact with each other
Yeah,
during
they
that
would play
time?
and stuff,
Oh,
yeah.
they would be with each other.
So yeah, that's what I was
So
saying. It might
should
be
we
good
do
for
like
him.
the final week? to have Wade do that? To brush him up after she's
Oh yeah, well, if
already
you're going to be out of
trained?
town, right? He's going to have to
Yeah.
board anyways. I
Yeah,
mean, you could
yeah.
do that.
I would wonder if that final week, I mean, this is
Or
stuff
give
we,
him
we
2
talk
weeks of
about.
training. And,
you think?
And bring him on her second week or her third week, fourth week,
I see what you're
overlap
saying,
with
yeah.
his first, but I don't know if, is
I mean,
that
obviously, we'll
possible?
discuss this,
However
but
you'd
that's
like
what
to
we're
schedule
leaning.
it,
Okay.
as long as it's, I can get everything done, and you can ask, and I'll say like, yeah, I can get that done.
Okay,
It's not an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
okay,
But talk about it, mull it over.
Yeah.
He's not required to, in the sense that we've trained her, and he's able to tag along. Usually, we have some clients, the dogs are like 10 years old, right? And they're not going to train the dog.
right,
But we'll tell them, as long as we can correct them on the collar in case they're barking and stuff, like it's not a problem.
right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And almost always it's never an issue. I run a quiet facility here. Right now it's the weekend, so it's slower. We have about 20 dogs, but you wouldn't know
Yeah,
because
you
it's
don't
quiet.
Yeah,
During the weekdays, we have 50 to 60 dogs. It's still just as quiet.
really.
Yeah, because it's a structured facility.
Well, see, the thing is, too, if we're going to have collars where they're linked up, you would kind of have that in place
Ability.
already then if they're both here, right?
So-
On the collar. So it's like they come home and they're both lockstep, you know?
So yeah, talk about it, mull it over,
Yeah.
and see how you want to approach that. Completely up to you, but you would get 10% off of his program if you decided to book him at the same time or
Yeah.
whatever. Okay. And then he would have his own videos. That
Yeah.
You would of course.
Okay.
And I treat it as if like he didn't know anything. I teach it from scratch.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Everybody teaches the collar a little bit differently.
yes, exactly.
I know off-leash canine is definitely different from how I teach. But then also what's nice is they're going to both be on the same language, so to speak. So
Yeah.
you're not using it differently for one dog who
That's
was taught a
kinda like
different
what
way,
we were
and then
worried
she's
about.
taught
Yeah.
a different way, So they'll be on the same wavelength, which makes things a bit easier. And then of course you have that family system, so you both always have control over both dogs at the same time.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Okay,
Definitely
Yep.
a nice option.
Other questions?
I mean, that kind of wraps it
no,
up.
I think we'll just follow up through email. 'Cause
Oh, for booking?
yeah.
Correct, yeah.
Because
So,
I think if we could get her in the end of February into the 4-week program, I'm thinking for her at least.
A 4-week for her.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
I just think life is going to be better with both of
100%,
them.
yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
We'll be
and
doing a
we're
lot
going to
more
have
stuff.
so much
Perfect
more
for-
fun.
yeah.
And, you know, I mean,
The
because
summer's
we're
coming.
really struggling with where she's at right now. And with the interruptions of dinner and just, everything is just kind of chaotic. Bringing groceries in, just everything.
the other thing that I could do is that when they're both here, I can try to see if she shows the guarding behavior
That's
because
true.
Wade
That's
is
true.
here.
Yes.
Yeah, you'll see that.
So
Yeah,
and I'll film it like now. So if I don't see it, like I'll say
don't.
like, hey guys, we're not seeing it here.
Yeah.
Here you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
But there's still things to a degree that I can cover.
You'll
don't.
see how she interacts with him for sure, because she'll be all over him.
Sure.
Well, maybe not with the collar on her.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit different.
She has no pain receptors, I'm telling you. They cut her dual claws off, they cut her tail. She had no whiskers when I got her. She was crying on a hill. It was a beautiful hill. She was just sitting there. I don't know what kind of trauma she had, but she's a good dog overall. And I just think if she had a little more confidence and understanding of what we want from her, that we'd be in a really sweet spot with her, because she really is a sweet dog. Definitely a sweet dog.
Other questions?
No, I think that's
So it may be Tina that gets you
Yeah,
situated,
yep, that's fine.
or it might be Maria. So Tina's my mom.
Okay.
She's from she's in Texas.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so she works from home in Texas to do like all my
The
in-persons
bookings,
and
yeah.
consultations and stuff. Maria's my aunt. She does like booking the daycare trains and the board-in trains, and she handles the facility calendar.
Okay.
But sometimes if my mom has time, she'll just book the board-in train.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
or you'll know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about it, mull it over, right? I send her my recommendations, and then she follows up, and then she gets the process going. And then if she's too busy, then she'll just forward you, and then Maria will take care of it. When it comes, you do get follow-ups, remember, right?
Yep.
Is the videos are there to help you understand what your dog learned, so that it kind of closes the gap. Because with most board and trains, you drop your dog off, you pick them up, maybe you get 30 minutes,
That's how, yeah.
right? And then it's like goodbye.
That's how I feel.
In my opinion, you cannot learn what your dog learned in 4 weeks in 30 minutes.
Yes,
Okay?
that's true.
So if she did a 4-week program, you're going to walk away with, math, 7 classes for her, Okay, and then if Wade did like a 2-week,
Yeah.
he'd walk away with 3 classes.
Okay.
So now you have a total of 10 classes, and these are one-on-one. Okay, to use to close the gap, or hey Jesse, this new behavior popped up. We've never seen this before. I go, sure, we'll use a follow-up, we'll correct the problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Just because I didn't cover it in the program doesn't mean we can't use the follow-up to correct it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about e-collar is that with good conditioning, we can address a lot of these issues, even though I couldn't cover it in the program itself.
Okay.
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 And they don't expire.
Yeah.
It could be 2 years. Like, hey, this new thing happened, and it's a problem.
Well, I like
all right,
that.
let's address
Yeah.
it then.
Well, let me ask you this. What got you into this?
I grew up with dogs, and then I lived in Chicago for the most part by myself, college kid or whatever, apartment. Didn't have time for a dog, and then when I moved to Texas, here you're gonna pull straight up. Yep. A little bit more up. Yep. Wait a moment. And now relax a little bit. Good. When I went to Texas, my mom had a house with a yard, and I was like, I can have a dog again. You know, so got a dog. Her name was Zena. She passed a week before my son was born. He was born July 2nd, so she passed late June or whatever. And she was scared of everything. Scared of people, scared of the environment stuff. So just like with anybody else, you know, you want to help your dog. And then I remember I went to PetSmart, and I was looking at the training. And he's like, you got a dog? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, he's like, what are you trying to accomplish? I'm like, well, she's scared of everything. He's like, well, here, we got trainers, and they'll teach your dog how to sit and teach your dog how to come. And I remember going like, what the fuck does it have to do with the
she
scared
did that with
environment?
Wade in the beginning,
Yeah,
too.
right?
Yeah.
So then like I walked away, and I was like, that didn't sound right, you know? And then I was looking through her folder of stuff, and I had gotten a coupon for a free Cesar Milan DVD. Do you guys know Cesar Milan?
Yes,
I do.
The dog
Yeah,
whisperer. So I sent them the coupon. And he had a video on, it was called Pack Leadership, what to do when you bring a dog home or something like that. And it just resonated with me. Structure, discipline, you know, correction, stuff like that. And he has one of 7 DVDs, right? So I bought the other 6, watched them, rewatched them, bought Dog Whisperer seasons 1 through 5, watched them, rewatched them. I used to go to the Humane Society and volunteer, and I would practice with everything, right? So I learned Cesar Milan first.
Yeah.
And it just
It stuck
Yeah.
with you. Yeah.
stemmed from
You
there.
got a
And now I do
passion for it.
e-collar and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Exactly. And then here I am 15 years
Yeah.
later, you know, still training dogs.
Well,
You know, we bought this facility.
yeah.
Wow, good for you.
I opened my brick and mortar September of 2019. 6 months later,
COVID.
Yeah.
COVID
cool.
happened.
Yeah.
And I must be doing something right,
You're
or
still
something
here?
must like me, because
Yeah.
we pulled through COVID, managed to recover, make enough money to buy this building.
Yeah.
You know.
We got
So-
all the COVID dogs, right?
Yeah, it was
Everybody-
crazy.
Yeah.
2021 was crazy.
Yeah.
We were like turning dogs away because I was so busy.
Yeah.
You know.
It's not a bad problem to have.
Nope. You know. So yeah, here I am, and love training dogs, and I'm just
You love
lucky
what you
that I adopted Xena, and then
It's great.
submitted that coupon for a DVD. Like,
Yeah.
it's just crazy. Like looking through the years and just how one thing led to another thing, and it's
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's good.
how'd you guys find us?
She found you.
Yeah, I mean, I saw them
And we
across
saw
the
the video.
street. I looked at. I'd sent Wade to Off-Leash, but I didn't want to send her to Off-Leash because I wasn't, like you said, it was like 30 minutes of here's how to use the e-collar and go on.
Yeah,
with
it felt
And
more
then I
like
never
for a
could get off
YouTube
the
video,
e-collar,
walking around the mall.
Yeah, I was like, it's a great YouTube video.
And it was nice and everything,
But
but
this is post the
doesn't
program,
help.
right? It's just like they're kind
Yeah,
of using.
yeah, they're showing like what they
which
did.
is nice and everything. It worked, but like with her, we just knew she's a different breed, higher energy. She's more ADD, loses train of thought. I'm like, I want something more structured or just a little more
Yeah.
solid. And
We watched
she
your
showed me the
video, and he
video
goes,
of
"I
you,
like
and I
that
said,
guy."
I like the way he's doing that.
Yeah.
And I said, well, let's give it a try and have a consultation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for her with the 4-week, the first week is always the longest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hour and a half to 2.5
Hardest,
hours.
Yeah.
It just depends. If she's like super easy to work with, it's going to be shorter. If she's more difficult, it's going to be longer. The second week is usually around 45 minutes to an hour. Weeks 3 and 4 are the shortest. They're anywhere
Yep.
between 15 to 30 minutes a pop because all the learning has been done.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
you're just seeing it be like progress to like off leash or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm explaining things still, but they all just stack on each other. And it's common sense, a lot of it, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
once you understand it, you're like, okay, this makes sense. And you're just kind of taking the time to, of course, practice and reinforce. Something that people don't account for is like their own personal confidence and like understanding of the call.
Well, that's what we had the place, and I had treats, and when it was springtime, and she was a puppy, and I was trying to emulate what I thought I saw on TV or saw them doing with Wade, but it's like I didn't have the patience for it, and I didn't think I was getting it back fast enough, you know. And if it's already there, you have it in place. Now I feel like, okay, I watch what you're doing. Okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, and she's gonna listen.
Correct.
You know, because we're both, like I said, we're both busy with work, and I hate that to be the excuse why our dog is in the neighbor's yard. You know,
Sure.
I had to put a fence up because it was just getting out of control.
Yeah. And then if there's anything you're not understanding, you have plenty of follow-ups to help
Yeah.
close
Yeah,
that
that's
gap.
great.
Yeah, and that's
And
makes
just
me
having
feel,
the boarding here, it's like all.
it makes me feel better to know that you're not like, give me your money and good luck.
No, a lot of places are like that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had another guy, he was in Tinley Park, and he did a 4-week board and train with Off-Leash. And they did the 30 minutes, and then he called them back to do like a refresher. And he said they took the dog and left him, like left the owner at the house. And then came back and was like, he knows everything, and
he's
here's
all
the bill.
cleaned up?
It was like, I was like, bro, that's fucking crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
See, we're
then-
not looking for that. You
So then
know?
obviously he called me, I showed up, and I was like, the dog's already technically trained. We just have to like fix a few things. He did 9 classes, and it was an older dude. Like it was his dog's name was Boz. He was a Boston Terrier.
Yeah.
But he really enjoyed the process. So he went like above and beyond, like even what he had learned, like the basic stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, because he knows the basic stuff, we're gonna get even further, even though it's only 9 classes.
Yeah.
And he was a really good owner. Like he followed through.
Yeah,
But he
and-
left.
and
He's
that-
like,
I
this
wanna
is.
be that way,
I
too.
understand it so much more now.
Yeah.
Because he learned the process. A lot of places, unfortunately, don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's still like a thing. Like I tell people, like
I think
logically
it's 'cause
speaking,
when you
like think
Google
about
it,
it.
there.
Yeah, it's
Like,
like
4 weeks is it's a bit of time.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like here, this, and this. Like it makes it seem like your dog's a robot and you press a button.
Yeah, yeah,
Things
and
happen.
that's what I was
Yeah.
afraid of, and that's how I felt about the off-leash training with
Yeah.
that. But feeling a little more comfortable with this, you know, I mean, you'd want to build a relationship with who trained your dog, and if you have a problem, you want to be able to call and
Correct,
not be,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
I
my
get
dog-
clients from 10 years ago
Yeah,
Yeah.
still email me with the question.
yeah, or
you
even
know?
if we got a new dog or.
Well, I emailed the off-leash canine guy.
Trained cat?
Never got a response.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I emailed him about her. And then I was like, okay.
they
well,
respond?
No, he didn't respond.
Really?
So, I was like,
I have a client I trained their first dog who passed. He was a tripod. His name was Alice, and they got another dog. And they reached out, but they live in the suburbs now. So she's like, "Hey Jesse, we'd love to train with you, but it does, you know, we the track and we got a baby, right?
Yeah.
And the dog was heartworm positive and is going to get treatment. So and they're like, you know, we want to do training, and the biggest issue is potty training. So I'm like, is this really your only concern? Because the dog won't potty on a leash. It'll only potty off leash, but when she's off leash, she zoomies. And you can't have that when they're doing the heartworm treatment. So I figured, I'm like, this is probably just a potty training thing. And she's like, yeah, ideally, you know, we just need a trainer to help us. I was like, I'll just help you via email. Like, it's the easiest thing.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, you know, and then when your dog is done with the heartworm treatment or whatever, then if you wanted, you know, you can, you know, do a board and train or whatever. But I was like, there's no point in charging a bunch of money just to like teach you how to get your dog to potty.
Yeah.
on a
Right,
leash.
right.
Like,
Yeah.
It's easy.
She doesn't go to
potty
the
on a
bathroom
leash.
on the leash.
Oh, really?
She only
Yeah.
goes to the bathroom in the backyard.
When
But
she's
it's I
free
don't-
roaming.
she doesn't seem like she's holding it or uncomfortable. She just never goes to the bathroom when we're. Wade will
She did
only poop
once.
when he's out on a nice walk. He loves to poop.
Sure.
I don't know if
Yeah.
he's poop marking. I know dogs do that
can
too.
do it, yeah.
Like he'll poop a couple times while we're on a
Sure.
walk.
Yeah.
There's a possibility then that when she's here, that we don't see her potty for up to 3 days.
Oh
because of the
yeah.
stress.
Oh really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there's
Okay.
only so many places we can take her to potty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Just so you know, she's not. We never had her go to the bathroom on the leash. We
She
just
did.
let
She
her in the
went once.
backyard.
She peed
Oh, did
once
she
on the
really?
leash. Remember when we were on a walk? She squatted and
Oh,
peed, and we were like,
yeah.
"Oh my God, good job!"
Yeah,
We were,
yeah.
like,
That-
petting her. We
That
were
was
like,
just the one time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But she generally.
She
just
really had
goes,
to go.
Go ahead, go out the sliding door in
I
the
gotcha.
backyard. And,
yeah, it's a fenced-in backyard.
Yeah, it's
She
fenced in
just
now.
Does
I
her own
had to-
thing.
But,
Awesome. Any other
Yeah.
questions?
no, I mean that pretty much covers
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, this-
So now I'll email Tina. Otherwise, if you know what you want, you can also just proactively email
Yep.
her, and then she'll send you the information for creating a Ginger profile, which is our facility software.
Okay.
Where you make a profile, we get the vaccinations and all that stuff, and that's where we
Okay.
handle our bookings. Our training contracts on there as well.
Yeah.
So
Now,
that-
where do we bring the poop? To the vet or
To the vet.
To the vet?
Yeah,
Yeah, we gotta-
usually takes a day or two,
All right.
depending.
We just say we need a test because
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
going to be doing this.
If she's not coming back for a couple of weeks, I would suggest waiting
Till like the week she comes back.
a week prior.
Okay.
Okay.
Because it gives enough time in case there's anything there to pop up.
Yeah, yeah.
It has happened in the past.
Yeah.
The 2 dogs that I'm actually going to see in March that are coming back to finish their 4-week program, when they showed up, had previous clear fecals, and then when they showed up, had hookworm.
Ooh.
You know, so it happens. It wasn't a big deal because they're antisocial.
Just
We
getting
have
it from
to-
outside or?
Puddles, drinking water,
Yeah,
you know, stuff,
she's
eating
known
crap off the
for
ground.
drinking puddles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could happen at any point.
Yeah.
But we didn't find out till they were here,
Yeah.
and they were out of the country as well. So it's like, don't worry about it. Like, we just have to keep them isolated and all that stuff.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
she have a
Okay.
fecal test for the eye?
No, she only had one when she was a puppy.
Yeah.
Like a very, very little puppy. I remember sitting with the poop in the car. Stunk.
Yeah.
Puppies are pretty common to
didn't
have
have the
parasites.
bite.
yeah.
Yeah. Does she
Yeah.
have any?
No, not,
She didn't,
not
but
that I
she
know
probably
of.
does,
But she
'cause I don't
does.
think
The
she's done well
backyard's
with
been a puddle
companion.
mess, so I guess we'll find out.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah, she was drinking
Did
the
you just
toilet
give her
water
an
the other
antibiotic?
day.
Well, she is on
bowl of
antibiotics because
water.
of the eye surgery.
I
though.
see. Sure.
So
For
I don't know.
infection.
Yeah.
But if there's any parasites, they'll give you stuff to treat that. or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
that takes some time to get through the
Get
system.
dialed in. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
If there's anything you've forgotten to ask, feel free to reach out to Tina.
Okay.
If they pertain to me, she'll shoot me an email and I'll answer it and she'll send it to you.
Okay.
Otherwise, she'll handle any questions.